Hello everybody, welcome back to my movie review series. Today we'll be discussing Super 8. Just finished watching this. I watched it on, pardon my headphone, I need new headphones, but watched this on Prime. Again, as always in all of my videos, my constitutional rights are completely violated. It has destroyed every aspect of my existence. And so I need somebody to have the decency or kindness of their heart to enforce the law or do their job. Or simply give me a time frame within 5 years so I can manage my money and not be fucking miserable from sun up till sundown. Please. Bust out some more content, get another movie review done that nobody will watch. Because I am the scapegoat for an entire species of fucking hypocrites. Pathetic hypocrites is all the human beings are. But we'll do this typical thing. I will read you the overview. I will give you my overall impressions and grade. Past that, if you would like to watch the movie based or not based on my recommendation, you want to shut off the video because there will be spoiler alerts. So, we have Super 8. It was released in 2011. The sci-fi / thriller. An hour and 52-minute runtime. It says, in 1979, Ohio. Kind of weird statement, bad grammar. Obviously, illiterate people can't write. Several youngsters are making a zombie movie with a Super 8 camera. In the midst of filming, the friends witness a horrifying train derailment and are lucky to escape with their lives. They soon discover that the catastrophe was no accident, as a series of unexplained events and disappearances soon follows. Deputy Jackson Lamb, the father of one of the kids, searches for the terrifying truth behind the crash. So, budget $50 million, box office $260. Got 72% on Metacritic, 81% on Rotten Tomatoes, 70% on Google, and 7 out of 10 on IMDb. So again, it's a suspense thriller, so I'm not going to give away until the plot synopsis what the thrilling thing is, since it doesn't reference it at all in the just overview. But I thought if it's set in 1979 and filmed in 2011, I thought the cinematography was really well done in this one. It felt like an older filmed movie. I really liked the characterization. Again, it's a young friend group, so them running around I thought made a really good dynamic. I thought the relationships between the characters was really interesting. The actual thrilling part, surprising, was alright. I mean, it wasn't super novel by any means, but overall I thought the movie was very entertaining. So I certainly liked this one. Like I said, the cinematography was great, the character relationships were good. No off-putting characters, and the plot moved along well, and I was certainly entertained throughout the entire movie. I'm gonna give this one a B+. Definitely recommend this one if you like sci-fi or just, this is kind of like a group of kids. And they, young love stories. I think it's cute, and I thought the characterizations were well done. So I recommend this one for a thriller sci-fi movie. So if you've not watched the movie and don't want to hear the spoiler alerts, you want to shut off the video now. So the movie opens up, and they're at a funeral. You have Joe Lamb and his dad, Jackson Lamb. Jackson is a police deputy, and Joe and the rest of his friend group, so I don't know, they're like 12-year-olds or something. And so they're opening up and they're having a funeral. The opening scene is literally like a metal factory worker sign that says, this many days since our last accident, and they're taking down the sign from 360 or whatever to 1, saying there was an accident. And then you have a funeral for Joe Lamb's mother, who was the factory worker who got killed. Jackson Lamb's his father, and he's got a couple. His closest friend is Charles. They have some other friends, Carrie, the dude with the big teeth, call them Chompers or something, and Preston, and then there might be 1 or 2 other ones, but then extra minor characters. And the other main characters are Alice something, D, and Louis D. And at this funeral, Jackson arrests Louis, and you're not really sure why. So that's the opening scene, and then you get a flash forward 4 months, and the kids are getting out of school for summer, or for summer break. And so they're filming this movie. They want to do a horror movie. Charles is really into making horror movies, and they're for a film contest. So he's trying to put together a crew. And his best friend Joe, he does like the makeup and special effects. Carrie, he's the filmer. Preston, I forget what he does. But regardless, they ask Alice, or Charles asks Alice, to be the wife of this detective that they're filming in his movie for the film festival. So she reluctantly agrees, and Alice and her dad kind of have a rough relationship at the beginning, and so they go and they film this scene at midnight. They sneak out and go to film the scene at midnight at these train tracks. So they're filming it, You can definitely Alice and Joe are definitely kind of, well, Joe's falling for Alice now, and later on you obviously learn that Charles asked Alice to be in the movie because he liked her too. And so, and I thought, young love, cute stories. I thought that was a good relationship between these people. Regardless, they're filming their movie, and Joe sees a truck drive. A train comes by, and Joe sees a truck purposely drive onto the tracks and go into the train. And so, big train collision. 3 minutes of intense action, stuff flying, exploding, train derailment in Ohio. And I think this was in Belmont. I think it said Belmont County, which is where my dad's from. But so again, train derailments in Ohio. That seemed like a major theme. That's pretty accurate. But regardless, big explosions, and then they find these little white cubes, and then they go to check on the guy that was in the truck. And so they learned that it was like their grade school advanced biology teacher or something, and they think he's kind of dead. The car's smoke coming off the car just crashed. And he's holding this map, and they take the map out of his hands, and they think he's dead. And then he grabs it, like they're looking at the picture, and he grabs it, and a little shock scene. But regardless, he points a gun at him and is like, "Let's get out of here. You were never here. You never saw anything. They'll kill you. They'll kill your families. You're never here." And then you see these lights coming. Woo, woo, woo. So they all run back, and again, Alice doesn't have a license but took her dad's car, and so now they all rush back to the car and escape before the people come. The Air Force shows up and starts, trying to neutralize or maintain the situation. And so you're still not sure what's going on, but they have a couple scenes at and the camera was filming the whole time as the train wrecked. They were literally filming the scene, then the train wrecked, and the camera fell over and was still recording. And so Charles goes to get that film processed. This is again simply he's working on his film for his film festival, and Joe and Alice again start having definitely a friendship into a romantic relationship, appropriate for 12-year-olds. But they start hanging out. She comes over one night, or Joe goes to her house one night to ask if she would film the next day. Her father, Louis, is like, get out of here. I don't want to see you here. You're not allowed to hang out. And so at this point in the movie, you're not really sure as to why. But Alice and her father have a rough relationship, and Alice sneaks out one night and goes to Joe's, and they watch the film of his mother, just like some old film reel of his mother holding him and playing with him. They share some intimate, again, like talking, just 12-year-olds talking, but just some conversation. And then Alice goes back to her dad's house, and then the dad is like, where were you at? They have a fight, and then Alice gets on her bikes and run away, and then Louis, her dad, follows after her in a car, and she turns real fast, and he tries to turn real fast, or looks out the window and crashes his car. And so even before this, you have a scene where the sheriff of the town, he's at this gas station, gets some gas, and there's this big rumbling, and he gets abducted, and again, you're not sure what exactly is going on, but he goes missing. So that was a scene, and then once Alice leaves the house and Louis crashes, Alice gets taken and gets abducted as well. In the town, there's everything's going missing. A lot of metal parts are all going missing, and so people are having town hall meetings. Jackson, the deputy, has a bunch of police officers at his house to kind of figure out what's going on because he's interacting with the Air Force, and they're clearly trying to keep something hush-hush. And so that kind of goes on, but now Alice is abducted, and they film some more, the group before, I guess, Alice even gets abducted, and they film outside. They go back to the train crash initially, and then they film outside. Whoever the doctor was, their biology teacher, the Air Force is searching his house for any clues about whatever they're looking for. So who was that guy? Oh, Overmeyer, I believe, or no, Dr. Thomas Glenn Turman's character. So I think that was the right. I think that's who the Dr. Thomas something. Regardless, and then so I'm skipping around again. Alice hasn't been abducted yet. But they confiscate their stuff, or takes the camera, and basically now you have some reference to, well, they get the film developed, it takes 3 days, and then they see Charles and Joe watch the film, and then they see this big creature thing. So at this point now you're thinking it's an alien or it's a biological. Well, the surprise is going to be an alien, and so again, not nothing super novel or unique, but just the way the movie was presented, I was thoroughly entertained, and so. Now the plot has come full circle until at least you know what they're hiding. I mean, they took a cube from the crash site and it starts vibrating, and like launches into a water tower, and so now they all kind of get kind of put into lockdown, all right, or not lockdown, but they get evacuated, they get put on buses and sent to this other place, and a couple other scenes with the Air Force where. Sergeant Nellick, who I recognize from The Americans. What character was that? What was his name? Noah Emmerich, Colonel Nellick. I recognized him from The Americans. But regardless, that wasn't a bad show. I just stopped watching after season 1. But regardless, they're out there. Nellick is like interrogating the doctor, and he says something like, you know, the doctor says, once he touched me, you know, I knew I was in him and he was in me, not sexually, but at which point I think they torture him or kill him or something. To me, in the movie against PG-13, but it looks like they kill the doctor Nellick or take him off life support or something. And so after that, you gotta get at this like triage center or just like a refugee camp kind of environment. They want to go save Alice because Joe learns from Lewis. Again, Lewis saw the thing and no one's believing him, and Joe had just seen the reel with Charles with the big alien thing on it, and so Joe believes Lewis. So that at that point the character relationship's developing a little bit, but now it's just a bunch of a fun adventure movie too. It's like a bunch of kids gonna go rescue the cute girl. I mean, come on, who doesn't like that plot line? And so. They go back, they have, Charles has a hot older sister, so the dude at the film place keeps wanting to talk to Charles' sister, and so they use the sister to have him drive them back into the city and go to the school to, you know, they search the doctor's house and his classroom, but I guess they had some dungeon or just storage space below the school or something. So they go back there, they break in, they find this stuff, and they learn that you know there's been this alien that crashed a spaceship and has been he just wants to build a spaceship and go back to his home. So he's a friendly alien in this movie, and he's underground and he just wants to build his spaceship and go back to his house or his home planet or whatever. And so now the plot is fully aware as to what's trying to occur, and as they're at this school. The Air Force breaks in and arrests them. At the same time, Jackson, the lieutenant, Joe's father, has picked up something called Operation Walking Distance, and so he says that to Colonel Nellick, and Nellick's like, "Okay, man, let's talk." Clearly, just gonna have him be under military arrest. They do that, arrest him on the military base, and they put him into the cell. He says he has to go to the bathroom, disarms the soldier, wears his uniform, and gets back to the triage refugee center. And so at this point, Joe and Lewis are kind of on the same page because they're both going to try to rescue their children. At which point, sometime at this point, you learn that Joe's mom and Jackson's wife died because Lewis had been drinking the morning and had called off his shift and at the factory, and the mom and wife took the shift and was killed by a beam falling. And so that's kind of why they had this tense relationship. You're not sure again why Joe and Alice are not allowed to be around each other, or both the fathers are both not liking them being together, or just hanging out as friends. Again, they're 12-year-olds. But so that's you learn as to what the backstory was. Regardless, now they're going back into town to try to find their kids. I believe they're going back into town. Regardless, the kids are on this transport bus leaving the school, and the big alien attacks them. And so the big alien's taking people. They're tips over a bus. They sneak out like the back end of a broken window, and I believe the alien does eat Colonel Nellick. So you learn in some of the backstory that because this alien just trying to build a spaceship and go back home. And Colonel Nellick and the old biology teacher used to work in the same kind of squadron, and they just kept abusing this alien thing. And so they have these shape-shifting cubes, and yeah, and that's what he needs to reverse his spaceship or whatever. But regardless, the alien attacks them, and the kids escape, and now they're going to go. I forget exactly how Joe knows where. Something about the cemetery, but he noticed where this sinkhole was, or where this alien comes out of the ground. And so he goes there, and basically him and Carrie, the teeth kid, he Carrie likes to blow stuff up. He's always got fireworks and stuff. So I don't know, it's just kind of his characterization. And so they go to rescue Alice. They find him. They see a bunch of bodies like hanging, not like by their necks, but like by their feet upside down, and they're all still kind of alive. So the alien's not really like. It looks like he ate Colonel Nellick, but the alien, the ones that he's been abducted, when he abducted the sheriff and he abducted Alice, they're all just still alive. He's just keeping them underground or something. So regardless, Joe finds Alice and just kind of wakes her up by slapping her. They wake up the sheriff, and some other chick wakes up that got abducted, and so they start escaping. The alien comes back, or he's already in there, but he starts attacking them again, or capturing them again. So he gets the sheriff again. He gets the woman. She's got some hair curls, and she has no idea what's going on. And so I don't know if the alien's actually going to eat him or kill him that time, or just put him back up in a cocoon or whatever. So regardless, the kids escape. They get out. You have reunion with Alice and Lewis, who again, the father and daughter had a rough relationship, and then Joe and Jackson had a kind of rough relationship. They all kind of bond together over all of what's occurred. And so, at this point, the alien just assembles, like, and starts pulling all of this metal stuff. A bunch of weapons are misfiring, but it's just attracting a bunch of metal to rebuild its spaceship and fly back home. So it does that, zooms off into the atmosphere, and that's really the end of the movie. And I'm sure I missed some minor plot developments, but overall, again, secret alien trying to go back to his home planet. I thought it was an entertaining movie, so B+. Major themes, yeah. So there's definitely aliens. There's a lot of them. They don't have to be that extreme. The alien type in this movie is really similar to like A Quiet Place with John Krasinski's movie. The stars in it, I think he directed it also and wrote it. But regardless, the alien type is this like big kind of, I don't know, large arachnid type of alien. I don't know. But there's certainly lots of types of aliens. A lot of them are, just have smaller teeth than us. But there's a lot of variety. Like Keith says, there's stuff I can't even imagine. It metabolizes, I can imagine it. And so, but again, since the time frame that they say in the movie is from like 1958 onward, but certainly since 1945, again, how do human beings have a spaceship or have a collection? The response I got was chance. Is there a special material? Word for word, yes. Right? Well, you don't have the material. And so that's certainly real. Aliens being crashed here, not being able to escape, no. Can some be living actually in the Earth? Certainly. What other major themes? The United States, world government's covering it all up for years and years and years and years to kill a bunch of kids and start wars for 70 years? Yes, absolutely. People in real life being killed for knowing about aliens? Yeah, absolutely. People getting too close to spaceships causing brain damage and death? Absolutely. But again, certainly there is an absolute real material that world governments are in possessions of that helps accelerate or stabilize the dynamics to have the propulsion systems have no exhaust, very little audio at all in terms of, they say spaceships are silent. They're not completely silent, certainly not when they're getting going. But definitely material. Aliens would not be crashed here and not be able to get out. They might crash here. Again, the United States government, was there actually living aliens found? I'm about 85% yes. Again, just onesie twosies maybe. But aliens are fucking everywhere. Life is fucking everywhere. So human beings continue to lie about all of science, literally all of science. And it's never going to change. It is proven on the internet, scientific method, supporting theory, fundamental proofing, all done sitting there. People just say, nope, doesn't exist. Just act like it doesn't exist. So people are too fucking illiterate to give a fuck about anything. Human beings are disgusting creatures. Too pathetic and cowardice to do their own jobs. they're protecting their jobs by killing their kids and saying America or France or Russia or whoever. But overall, the movie was very entertaining. Some of the major themes were very, very close to actual real life. But yeah, I don't know. I was thoroughly enjoyed it. I like movies Super 8. It's certainly a good switch up from any action or anything I've been watching. Again, I watched iRobot yesterday, and I did a substantial jump up in terms of sci-fi writing in this one. Like I said, this one looked great in terms of cinematography, going from filmed in 2011, trying to look like 1979, and iRobot was filmed in 2004, trying to look like 2035, and the futuristicness of it was just ridiculous. So I thoroughly enjoyed this one, and thank you for watching, and I will see you on the next one. And again, please, somebody have the decency or kindness in their heart, or just simply oblige their legal obligations to help me. I have a ton of property being stolen. I get denigrated and disrespected every 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 months, and then after 2 years it never happened, and it has never stopped in my entire life. Please help me.